Hello everybody, and welcome to a GameMaker tutorial. In this video, I'll be making our enemies move around. So, they're not just going to be single objects now, they're actually going to follow us to an extent. It's going to be introducing scripts, and I'll also briefly go into how you could change this to sort of work in your own game, which you'll probably want to change it in the future, probably not now. So first thing we're going to do is make a script. So you can go over to resources if you want. I find it easier just to click this one here. Sometimes I get it muddled up with this one, so don't click that one here. That's a shader, completely different thing. So you want a script, and we'll call it SCR, stands for script, and this one's going to be limit. So what this script's going to do is it's going to limit our player. Actually, no, I'm not going to put it in a script because I remember testing this and it didn't work well. I don't know why, but for some reason it wasn't running it all the time. So quite simply, we're going to go into our player, in our step, the allow the player to move bit, and we're going to put x equals. By the way, I'll just put this all down and then explain what it means later. So I always forget which way around this is. Maybe that. Don't know. Sorry if I'm wrong. We'll see in a minute, probably. So, I've actually forgotten which way around the height is in them. Yeah, that's right, that should work. It doesn't matter what order you've got these in, I don't think. And actually what we're going to do is copy this over and put it in the enemy step, which we haven't got yet. I knew that. So we're going to make a step event, normal step, we don't want a begin or end. Control and right click and paste this in. So, what that does is, I'll just bring it up. It's saying that our x coordinate of our enemy in this case is going to be equal to the median, which is a kind of average. It's to do with maths. You get a middle value. So basically, if we're outside the room, it won't let us go any further. It's very complicated. I don't understand it fully myself, but it works. So, I forgot to say actually at the start, I didn't have much time to prepare for this video, so there might be quite a lot of debugging and sort of thing going on whilst I'm doing it, because I've been busy making my own game called Balor. There's a video going through what I've done so far. It's a bit outdated though. Anyway, back to this. I've just done this without saying. We're going to make a script again there, and we're going to call this one script enemy wander. So what we're going to do in this one is it's going to be 4 enemies. Whoops. And what it's going to do is make our enemies sort of randomly walk around. I did find when I was making it that they sort of skirted around the edge, which is quite annoying, but you can change that by changing bits, which I'll show you later. So, gotta remember this now. If I get really stuck, I might have to open my preparing one and do it, but for the time being, I think this will work. So, I'm gonna make a temporary variable I'm gonna call it dir, which stands for direction. I could put direction, but it's a built-in variable. And basically what it does is it'll mess it up. Because we're getting the direction, and we don't want the direction, we want a different direction. So we don't want the direction of our enemy, we want the direction of our player. So, wait, do we want it? No, we don't want it player. We want a random direction. We don't want it over 360, otherwise that'll be more than a full rotation. It's just a waste, basically. I was going to get a bar speed, which is going to equal max speed, and I don't know if I've set this in the previous one. Let's see. No, I haven't. So I'm going to our player create. I'm going to put two variables in, which we'll need for this. So we can have max speed, and we'll give it, I think 2 is quite good. And we're going to have sight equals, let's see, 200. So what this says is, this is how fast we can possibly go. This is how far our enemy can see. So once you get out of your sight, it's not going to follow you anymore. So, oh no, I've done this. It was not. I was trying to think why I'd done it like that, and then I remembered that it wasn't meant to be like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use choose, which is sort of like random, but random just gets a real number. So I know that might sound a bit silly, real number. Of course, they're all real numbers. But real number is basically just a number. But this choose uses variables or strings. So you could have that, you could have hello, anything that it will choose one of them basically. But for this example, we're just going to have 3 different values. So we're going to have our max speed divided by 2, and our max speed divided by 3. So you could put 0 in there as well, but there's no point, I don't find. Because if it gets to 0, it starts to go a bit silly, and it's hard to explain. It sort of moves very, very, very slowly. So it's still moving when it shouldn't be, and it gets a bit messy. So if our alarm, now I don't think I've gone into alarms. No, I haven't. So we go over here, make an event, and we're going to make an alarm. It's going to be alarm 0, which is what you should always start on. You can only use an alarm for one thing, never use it for more than one thing. Basically, an alarm is like a timer, but it goes down. So if you set, so you can set it to, you could put alarm equals 2, for example. 30 is the default for a second. Or you can do room speed, yeah. So that's 1 second. Key thing about alarms is you don't need to put anything in the actions bit, but you have to put something in so that it doesn't automatically delete the event. So you can put, sorry about my spelling. That'll do. You can put whatever you want. Basically, it's just so it doesn't delete. That's very key. I still do it now. I still forget to put stuff on, and I'm like, why isn't this not working? I've done it all right, and then I'm like, oh, I've forgotten to do that. So I don't know if I've used this double equals sign. It's a bit confusing. It sort of means equals, which is a bit odd. GameMaker doesn't define between 1 equals and 2 equals, but especially when you're using an if statement, it's better coding to put 2. So So when you're using 1, you'd be assigning. When you're using 2, you'd be asking if it's equal to that. So basically, if our alarm has run out, then we're going to... so I've gone wrong. This is meant to be here. Because we want our direction to change every... I think in this case it's 2 seconds. I think I'm going to do it. We don't want it to be the same. Also speed. I'm doing this all wrong. It needs to be there as well. Because we want to have a different speed every time as well. Now, this is a sort of... It's a function that I don't use much. Generally I use move towards point. Because I find that's easier to use. But in this case, we don't know what the point is going to be. Well, it's not going to be a set point. We're just going to go in that direction for 2 seconds, right? So we're going to motion add. So what it does is, imagine you're walking along, and you said you're going to walk forward for 2 steps. Well, not 2 steps, sorry. 2 seconds. And you walk left for 2 seconds at a set speed. This is going to be we're going to pick a random speed and we're going to walk that. That's what it does. I think you can do other things, but that's what we're going to use it for this. So we're going to add our motion using our random direction. So our random... I've forgotten what they're called now. Degree, that's what it is. So if you've got... It's maths again. So say we get 100 degrees. So we're going to go 100 degrees. And we're going to go at this speed chosen here. And we're going to make sure this doesn't carry on doing it again and again and again and again by setting this to 60. So that now should work. That script. As I said, I can't remember everything from it, so it might throw up an error or something, but I'll resolve it later. Obviously in the video. So we're gonna make another script. I'm gonna call this script enemy attack. This is gonna be quite a simple script. You can make it more complicated by having them chase you, maybe. Anything like that will do. But I'm just gonna make it really basic because this is a beginner's tutorial after all. So, right. On this one, we are going to use the move towards point because we know which point it's going to be. It's going to be a player, isn't it? So, if we're in our point, we're going to... I think it's just this, actually. Towards... no. I've forgotten a key bit there. Yeah. So we're going to have 2 alarms actually. One's going to be our attacking alarm. And one's going to be our walking alarm. So go ahead and create another alarm. This is going to be alarm 1. Because we can't use the same alarm again, remember. And you can put... No. Just can't be bothered to write anything complicated. So if our first alarm equals, if it's nothing, we're going to want to attack. So we're going to chase it. So move towards point. No, sorry. I just realised we've done this earlier in another non-script bit. So we'll go back, sorry, delete this event. I think. No, keep the alarm. We'll use it later, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to move towards point, and we're going to get our player, and you dot X. It's a really handy bit, this. So if you get the object's name, you put a dot, whoops, oh, and then you can put the variable that you want to access in it. So instead of using with, which is quite long-winded, you can just put that. Microphone's popping quite a bit. It's quite annoying. I need to stop saying P's. So, we're going to want to move at the max speed if we're chasing. Right, now, we're going to put it all together. So, in our step, let's put a title, make the enemy attack. And by the way, I might show you how, in a later video, by putting all this in parent objects, how much easier you can do all this. So if you want multiple enemies, which you probably will, I'll show you how to do that later. So different stats, you know, that sort of thing. So, we don't need that. So this is going to put it all together. So if point distance, oops. So point distance gets the distance between 2 points, basically. So we're going to have our own x, our own y, our player's x, and our player's y. So basically it gets the distance between our players, between us and the player. So if it's bigger than the site, have I done that right? Yeah. Is that, if the distance is bigger than the site, yeah. So if it's bigger than the site, state, which we're going to set, which is going to be what states our enemies in. So we're going to want to wander. Use else here, which is sort of built onto the end of our if, which says if it's not this, what we're going to do. State, oops, equals enemy attack. Have I done that? Oh, no, I'll put it like that. So, if the distance is bigger than our sight, we're going to wander around because he's not in our sight. Otherwise, we're going to start attacking him, so we're going to start chasing him. Now, go into a collision with the player. This is the bit we need to change and use the alarm, because we don't want to be attacking every single step of the game. That's like once every 30th of a second in this case. So if alarm 1, which we used earlier, equals -1, then we're gonna take away from our attack. Did I? Yeah, we're also gonna do defense as well. I forgot all about that. Bit more complicated. You can add other stats as well, you know, like if you're gonna have a magic game, you can have mana, you know, whatever you need. So this is gonna attack every second. Oh yeah, and we need to go into our create event and just quickly set the starting state. Otherwise it'll chuck up errors. So you'll be like, what state? What on earth are you on about? Now it should work. Not entirely sure it will. As I say, most of it's coming off the top of my head, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. So our enemy's still not moving. But we're attacking every second, which is good. So there's something wrong with our wander. Have I done this right? Yeah. Have I set it right? Something stupid like that. Oh, I know what I've done. Super basic. Up here, first thing we should have done, script execute state, because we're not actually using these states. So we're setting it, but we're not using it, which is a bit stupid. Also, what I was going to say, just for this testing bit, I'm just going to disable the views, because it makes it easier to see if everything's working as it should be. So yeah, you can see it's moving, and there you go, it's chasing us. It's a bit slow, as you can see, but let me try and move out of its sight. So yeah, there you go. It's moving back to its normal way of moving as soon as we get out of its sight. Also, yeah, you can see it's not quite outside the room. We can't. Yeah, we can't get outside the room, and if it attacks us, we still got this vibrating bit. All we'll want to do for that is sort of make it bounce back a bit, but I might do that later. We can still do minus numbers. Yeah, I'll leave that for now. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Next tutorial, I've already planned it out. We're going to be doing some character class customization, so you could be a hunter, ninja, you know, different things, and names as well, so you can set what your name's gonna be. Should be super cool, professional game level. Also after that, I have no other plans, so if you post in the comments what you want to see me do, I'll be more than happy to read them and possibly do them. So, remember to subscribe, like, share with your friends, and I will talk to you later. Eleanor. Oh, poo cheeks.